Hello, welcome to JMR RECAP, and we enter the final event of 2021 Marble League, Marblocross, and it actually happened 4 days ago, but I'm giving you the recap of it, that's for sure. Well, let's get into it. Now, as you probably know at this point, the top 11 teams could still win. The Raspberry Racers to the Green Ducks still in the running. And, that's the biggest ever for the Marble League going to the final event, so it was going to be a really tight battle to see who would actually win the Marble League. But then it was revealed that the JMA had made the controversial decision to use reverse starting grid order. So 16th place in the Marble League would be starting in first, and first place would be starting in 16th, which really opened the door up for a lot of the bottom teams in the Marble League at the moment, such as the Green Ducks, who needed the miracle scenario to actually win. And just like that, at lap 2, the Green Ducks had got into second overall, giving them bronze at the time. But that was until Mellow Yellow jumped up into 5th place, giving them gold at the time, temporarily. But then at lap 4, the Shining Swarm took provisional first place in the championship, but that was short-lived when the Raspberry Racers jumped into 14th to give them first overall once again. At lap 6, the Green Ducks took the lead for a couple seconds, which temporarily for a couple seconds gave them the championship lead, before falling to third behind the O Rangers and Rojo Rollers, the Rojo Rollers trying to gain a considerable lead at this point. But then, at lap 8, the Green Ducks once again jumped into first, giving them the temporary championship gold. But it was still going to require a miracle, still with, there being, over 10 laps to go. The order definitely wasn't going to stay like that, and they lost it quite quickly. At lap 10, Mellow Yellow jumped up into 5th, giving them the momentary gold in the championship. Then they jumped to 3rd, making their chances of winning the championship even higher at the time, but they were still battling with the Green Ducks and Rojo Rollers to actually take the lead in the race. I'd just like to take this time to point out how bad the top 2 in the Marble League were doing in this final event, as they were both in the bottom 2, the Hazers and Raspberry Racers. The Hazers probably had the most momentum coming into this race, jumping up 5 spots last event in second. And, oh yeah, by the way, Mellow Yellow took the lead, making their chances of winning the championship even greater with the Raspberry Racers in 16th, and considering who they were battling with. But then, at lap 14, the Minty Maniacs jumped up into second, the only team so far not to medal this year, and is currently in 15th, along with the 16th place Rojo Rollers also doing considerably well in this event at the same time. At lap 18, Red Eye from the Crazy Cat's Eyes, undisputed Marble 1 champion, jumped into 3rd, and at this point we actually had the top 3 from last year's final event be the top 3 at the moment for this year's final event, and if Red Eye could hold this, the host team would actually finish on the podium, which would be pretty crazy considering that's never really happened before. The host team that never necessarily does very well. They're usually mid-pack or absolutely horrible, so that would be history right there. On lap 20, Mellow Yellow had a slip-up on the turn and let the Minty Maniacs in front of them, but then they very quickly recovered and jumped right back in front. The Rangers and Rojo Rollers still running in 4th and 5th. On lap 21, the Rangers passed Mellow Yellow, but Mellow Yellow very quickly got back in front before actually crossing the finish line to start the final lap. And in the final stretches of the race, well, Mellow Yellow still running in second. They necessarily just needed to stay in the top 5 to win, so even though they fell to 3rd, Mellow Yellow did still claim the Marble League Championship, the Gliding Glaciers jumping up into 6th to claim bronze, and even though they finished in 15th, the Raspberry Racers still did well enough to finish in 2nd place, and the Hazers, finishing in 16th, slipped off the podium into 4th. And the Savage Speeders fell from 8th to 12th, their worst finish in history, and the Rangers did actually end up overtaking them in the final event, so their fans are pretty happy about that one. Even though they did relatively well, the Rojo Rollers still ended up finishing last, mainly because the Minty Maniacs won the event. And again, that also means every team got a medal this year. It came down to the wire, but every team did end up medaling. And I'll just let this section play now.